Before the video starts, let me break down what you can expect in this review. 1. I will talk about the plot or the story of the episode. 2. I will talk about the things that I like. 3. I'll talk about the things that I didn't really care for. And 4. I will give the episode a score out of 10. Also, spoilers. With that being said, let's get right into it and break down the actual episode review.
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Tanner here, and welcome back to yet another episode of my series of videos where I go ahead and review the Ninjago Season 8 Sons of Garmadon episodes. Today we will be talking about episode 79 entitled Dead Man's Squall. Now, before we get into it, I do need to say we are adjusting the audio this go-round. I hope it sounds better. I'm actually using a little bit of a different method to record audio, so let me know how this sounds to you guys, and if you guys like it, we will be sticking with this from now on. Whenever I do a video, it will be with this audio. So feel free to let me know what you guys think about that. But anyway, going right along and talking about the episode at hand, I'm just going to say right now I really liked this episode quite a bit, actually. I thought it was really well done. Of course, we'll get into my specifics as to why I thought it was really good later on. But for right now, let's go ahead and discuss the story. So the episode begins where the last episode left off. Zane and Mr. E are actually in a pretty intense fight scene, which there are a lot of stakes here in this fight, and you could tell. Zane gets the upper hand on Mr. E and ends up freezing him, but he thaws out in no time and ends up tossing Zane over the side of a cliff, which leaves Zane severely damaged. And what really got me is that they play the Zane dying music from season 3 at the end where he actually died. That was really really tough to deal with. I brought back some flashbacks there. But Zane blacks out, and this gives Mr. E the opportunity to go ahead and place a trap on him, sort of plant a little spider robot, which we'll see later on in the episode. But yeah, it is very sad that Zane is immobile, but the ninja do end up finding him, and they take him back aboard the bounty, and they start the repairs, and they also discuss these Sons of Garmadon and what exactly they wanted with the mysterious baby. Of course, then it cuts to the ninja taking care of the baby, and the ninja are experiencing firsthand that parenting is a lot of work and it is very hard. Myself, I'm not a parent, but this episode definitely caused me to think twice about having a child. Let's just leave it at that. But Harumi ends up calming the child, and that leads to a conversation between Lloyd and Harumi where they discuss their own parents. Then it's Cole's turn to be a parent as he discovers the secret on the baby's blanket, which ends up being a map to the third and final Oni mask. So that'll, of course, play into later episodes, I'd imagine. Then we cut to Pixel intercepting a message from Mr. E. She ends up deciphering it, and it's revealed that Zane ended up recording it during their fight. And, of course, it translates to the trap has been set. So clearly now they know that something is up. Suddenly, all of the lights in the place go out, and the ninja freak out because this is a very strange emergency, and it really is, as they soon find out that Samurai X is also approaching from the rear, which in itself is also very strange. It almost appears as though Samurai X is chasing them, and we find out that's because Samurai X has been hacked, and it's here that Pixel reveals herself to have been Samurai X the entire time. So basically what happens now is that Samurai X starts attacking the bounty, as Nia goes ahead and searches for whatever the trap was. She finds it and, of course, ends up getting attacked as Samurai X continues to rip the bounty apart piece by piece. The main goal of Pixel/Samurai X here is, of course, to bring down the bounty. And for some reason, she also nabs Harumi, which, that's kind of strange. And she takes off with her, but Lloyd, of course, chases after them. He jumps on the falling mech, and Samurai X actually ends up bailing from the mech and gets back on the bounty and continues to fight the ninja. So now we basically have Lloyd and Harumi falling with the Samurai X mech, and it doesn't really go well for them. Nia eventually does find the trap inside the bounty, and she attacks it, but then Zane wakes up and they do whatever, they destroy it. They walk outside to find the ninja still fighting Samurai X, and the bounty is very damaged, and of course Pixel's possession ends right right after, rather, she threw the final sword that ended up bringing down the bounty. So the bounty is severely damaged and ends up falling out of the sky. Eventually it hits the ground and everyone is okay, surprisingly, with minor injuries. Can't say the same for Lloyd and Harumi, as Lloyd is left with a broken arm, but Pixel reveals herself to Zane as Samurai X, and the two of them have a little bit of a heart-to-heart as Lloyd and Harumi find themselves trapped in a unknown jungle. So that'll just about do it for the the plot of this episode. So now talking about the things that I thought were really good. For one, I really thought this was classic Ninjago. A lot of the dialogue and just things happening in this episode really did make it feel like a classic episode of Ninjago to me, which is refreshing considering Season 8 does have this new aesthetic and a new look to it. So I thought that was nice. I do need to actually give a big thumbs up to the fight scenes in this episode, specifically Mr. E versus Zane. Right at the beginning of the episode, that is the right way to go ahead and start an episode right there, is to deliver an awesome fight, which actually did feel intense and did have stakes. That was really awesome. Another fight to point out in this episode is the Samurai X versus the Ninja fight. Interesting, considering the last time we saw that, I think, was in the first season of Ninjago. So it's been quite a while since we saw the ninja take on a samurai, I think. I might be missing something, but I thought that was really well done. Just overall, the setting for this episode, being up in the sky on the bounty in the rain, definitely added to the whole intensity factor of the entire episode. And if there was one word that I would use to describe this episode, it would actually be intense. I think this episode did a great job of pretty much setting up the rest of the season as being super dark, which I am looking forward to, and I think this episode sort of sets the bar for Season 8 and sort of differentiates itself from the previous seasons. In terms of things that I thought were bad, I honestly am having a lot of trouble coming up with any negatives. For the time being, I'm going to say that there were no negatives with this episode that I could personally point out. So I'm going to go ahead and give this episode the very first 10 out of 10 for the Season 8 reviews. I thought this episode was really well done, and this is definitely my favorite so far. I know last week I said that episode was my favorite, but in my opinion, this episode blows last week's episode out of the water. So I hope you did enjoy my review talking about episode 79 of Ninjago. If you did enjoy, feel free to give this video a thumbs up rating, and as always, be sure to hit that subscribe button, guys. It really does mean a lot to me. Remember to leave a comment talking about the audio quality and, just discuss whether or not you prefer this one. And if you guys do, I'll definitely be sticking with it. Or, of course, if you just had a general comment about the episode or the video itself, that's also more than okay. With that being said, that'll just about wrap it up. Thank you so very much for watching, guys. My name is TannerFishies, and with that, I bid you farewell.